Hello there. My name is Moya, and I grew up in a small town with my parents and my brother Vincent. I had always known that we had extended family, but I had never met them. Honestly, it never occurred to me to ask my parents about the rest of our family, as it never made much of a difference to me. I just played and went to school and focused on growing up. It wasn't until I graduated from high school that I began to wonder about who we might be related to. In school, I was always fascinated with history, and I suddenly became very curious about my family's own. Hey, Mom and Dad, what happened? Why don't we ever speak or visit with our extended family?
Well, it's a bit complicated, but your aunt and my parents never really got along. There was a lot of bad blood between them, and I chose to side with your aunt. After that, we lost contact with them.
But what happened? Why haven't we tried to reconnect with them?
Well, we have tried a few times over the years, but not since your aunt passed away. It's just complicated.
No matter how I asked, they wouldn't give me more information, and so I just ended up accepting the fact that I would never know. After university, I started working as a teacher. It didn't pay a lot, but I was doing what made me happy. My brother Vincent, though, had started school to become a lawyer, although I knew that he was struggling. He spent more time partying and socializing than actually studying. But it was his choice to make, and so I didn't say anything. I just tried my best to support him. It was after my brother's first year had ended that both of my parents had a terrible accident. Their home was not equipped with a carbon monoxide detector, and when I went over to visit them, I found the two of them unconscious in their living room. They had fallen asleep while watching TV and had become poisoned by carbon monoxide. I opened up all of the windows and doors and called for an ambulance, but by the time that they made it to the hospital, it was too late. They passed away and left me and my brother alone. Planning for the funeral was incredibly difficult, but the two of us managed. At the funeral, though, we were given the biggest surprise possible. Among the people that attended the funeral were dozens of our parents' friends and our grandparents as well. It was the very first time that we had ever met them.
Hello there. This is a bit awkward, but we're your grandparents.
Hi there. It's nice to meet you, but if you don't mind me asking, why haven't we met before?
Well, it's a long story, but it's all in the past. And if you would like, we would love to get to know you too.
Neither of us knew what else to do other just say that we would be happy to try. The weeks that followed, though, were rough. We tried our best to adjust to a life without our parents. The whole time our grandparents kept coming over. The meals that my grandmother cooked for us were delicious, but no matter how much I spoke to either my grandmother and grandfather, I still felt awkward around them. It was almost as if they weren't really that interested in getting to know me, but they acted completely different with my brother. If I didn't know better, they were only interested in getting to know him and couldn't care less about me. Hey, Vincent, do you think there is anything odd about our grandparents?
Nope, they're really nice to me. It feels like Mom and Dad are still alive when I talk to them.
Well, that's good, but I don't feel the same way. They just feel like strangers to me.
Maybe you should try harder then, because they've already told me that they love me.
They have? Well, they haven't said anything of the sort to me. I didn't doubt that he was telling me the truth, but I was confused why he was being treated so differently. Another week passed, and our parents' lawyer contacted my brother and I to let us know that he was ready to read to us our parents' will. And so, we went and paid him a visit.
I am very sorry for your loss. This can't be easy for either of you. Yeah, it would have been even more difficult if our grandparents hadn't shown up. Your grandparents? Really?
Yes, they introduced themselves at the funeral.
That is definitely unusual. But at any rate, I want you to know that a lot of thought and concern went into the creation of this document. It wasn't easy for your parents to come up with this will. It might not seem like it, but I want you to know that they made it as fair as possible.
Both of us were a bit confused by this, but once he started to describe how things were divided up, we began to understand, but then had more questions. Our parents left me the house and over $500,000 while my brother was only given $25,000. I could tell by the look on his face that he was less than happy by this turn of events, but he said nothing. When we got home, my brother ran and told our grandparents about what had happened, and the three of them came running to confront me.
How dare you steal from my grandson?
Steal? I didn't steal anything. I don't know why our parents left me so much more.
Just give our grandson what he is owed. You have no right to that money.
He deserves that money, unlike you.
But my parents wanted me to have it.
They weren't your parents, you imposter.
And with that, they pushed me out of the house and locked the door behind me. Angry, I called up the lawyer and asked him if they had the right to do what they had just done.
I was afraid that that might happen. So I wasn't supposed to tell you this yet. But I think it will help things make more sense. You may need to sit down for this. You are adopted. Your mother was your adoptive mother's sister, so your brother is actually your cousin. Suffice to say that your grandparents hated your real mother more than anything and disowned her. Your adoptive mother chose to side with her sister and then disowned her parents in turn. It was a massive mess. However, when your real mother passed away, she left you the house you live in, as well as large sum of money that your parents were to hold on to until you were older. So that is why you got so much more than Vincent. The long and short of it is that no, they don't have the right to deny you access to your home.
I was speechless. I didn't really know if I should include the police, but I saw no other choice. And so I called them and then made my way over to my house. Both my grandparents and Vincent rushed outside.
We thought we told you to get away and never come back.
My grandfather swung at me and punched me so hard that I was sent flying to the ground. Why are you being like this? I found out who my mom was and that you hated her, but why do you hate me?
Your mother was no longer our daughter, and you are just the evil offspring from that idiot.
What about you, Vincent? Do you hate me now, too?
Yes, you weren't even their child, and yet they gave you more than me. Their actual child? It's not fair. Grandma and Grandpa told me all about the evil witch who was your real mother, and how we're all better off that she's dead. Why Mom and Dad would side with her, I have no idea.
The look on his face frightened me as he began to attack me. Just then the police showed up, though, and pulled him off me. Terrified, I told the police that I wanted to place charges against all of them. Without question, the police dragged the three of them away as I went into my house, only to discover that they had destroyed a lot of things in my house. They had destroyed literally everything in the house that wasn't my brother's. I was enraged, and I called up the lawyer and had him file a lawsuit against my grandparents and brother. There was no way that I could recover the items that they had sold, but I was definitely going to make them pay for destroying my belongings, especially since many of them had belonged to my parents and were connections to them. Thankfully, my case was seen by a judge that sided with me. He sentenced my grandfather and brother to jail for 10 years, each for assaulting me and for destroying my belongings, but my grandmother got off with just receiving a restraining order. On top of that, I did manage to sue my brother for destroying portions of my inheritance, and the judge awarded me his share of the inheritance as compensation. I felt very guilty for doing that, but after he had so easily betrayed me and attacked me, I just couldn't let what he had done to me go without some kind of repercussions. Losing both my parents and brother was horrific, and then to learn that my own parents weren't even my real parents was almost too much for me to take. Alone and sad, I began to look into my real mother's past, and I managed to find out who my real father was. After reaching out, my father was excited to find out that I existed. So now, I am left feeling both sad that I lost the family that I had always known and excited for having discovered one completely new that couldn't wait to get to know me. Thanks for watching. Please like the video so it can recommend it to others.